What if I told you that the life you've been trying so hard to create is already yours, and the only thing standing in the way is how you're thinking about it right now? Most people spend their lives forcing, chasing, and controlling every step, never realizing that the real power isn't in doing more, but in becoming something different within. Tonight, I want to show you a shift so simple yet so powerful it can change the way everything unfolds for you. My friends, pause for a second. Not later, not when everything is done, right now. Ask yourself something and answer it honestly without hiding behind distractions. Are you exhausted? Not just physically tired, but deeply drained. The kind of exhaustion that settles into your bones. The kind that comes from fighting battles that were never yours in the first place. From pushing and pushing, trying to open doors that were never locked. From spending years forcing life when it would have flowed to you if you had only understood how to receive. You've been trying so hard, planning every move, calculating every step, thinking if you just add one more strategy, make one more call, fix one more detail, then finally things will change. But instead you feel like you're swimming against a current that never ends. And tonight, I want to show you why that is, and more importantly, how to step out of it completely. Not by adding another method or trick, but by shifting into a totally different way of being. Something so simple that when it clicks, you won't feel pride, you'll feel relief. Like dropping a weight you didn't realize you were carrying. Think about this. A desire appears within you. Something beautiful, alive, maybe a relationship, financial freedom, healing, or something you want to create. That desire didn't come randomly. It's there for a reason. It's a signal. It belongs to you. If it wasn't meant for you, it wouldn't exist inside you. That's the first thing you need to understand. But what do you do the moment it shows up? You start analyzing. You grab a pen, make plans, figure out how it could happen. You try to connect people, predict outcomes, control timing. You build this whole mental structure of how life should rearrange itself. And then you start pushing. You push through rejection, through fatigue, through doubt. When something doesn't work, you push harder. You repeat the same actions with more intensity, thinking effort is the missing piece. And what happens? Either nothing changes and you feel frustrated, or something does happen, but it feels empty. It doesn't satisfy you the way you imagined. Because you've mixed up your role. You tried to be both the one who dreams and the one who controls every detail of how it must happen. Here's the truth that changes everything. Your effort doesn't create your reality, your assumption does. Not your plans, not your struggle, not your willpower. It's the state you live in internally, the feeling that something is already yours. When you truly accept something as real within you, when you stop reaching and start being the version of yourself who already has it, everything begins to shift. From that state, things move differently. Opportunities appear naturally. People come into your life without force. Actions feel easy, almost guided. It's no longer about pushing, it feels like you're being carried. This isn't just a nice idea, this is how consciousness works. And when I say source, I'm not talking about something outside of you, judging whether you deserve your desire. It's not a distant power you have to impress, it's your own awareness. The deeper part of you, the I am, that exists before your fears, before your identity, before all the noise. It's the intelligence that sees what you can't see, knows what you can't know, and can arrange things in ways that feel almost unreal. But there's one condition. It can't guide you if you refuse to let go of control. Imagine being lost in a massive forest with a guide who knows every path perfectly. He knows the shortcuts, the safe routes, the hidden openings. But instead of following him, you run ahead, ignore his direction, and try to figure it out yourself. You exhaust yourself climbing obstacles he could have easily led you around. That's exactly what you're doing when you try to control everything. You say you trust life, but then you act like everything depends on your effort alone. You ask for guidance, then ignore it. You believe in something greater, but still carry all the pressure yourself. And then you wonder why it feels so hard. Now let's be clear. This doesn't mean you stop taking action. Action is part of the process. But there's a huge difference between forced action and inspired action. Forced action comes from fear, from lack, from trying to make something happen. Inspired action comes from already feeling aligned, already knowing it's yours. It feels natural, almost obvious. You don't have to push, it just unfolds. And that's the shift. You're not here to force life into place. You're here to align with what already belongs to you, to step into the version of yourself who already has it and allow everything else to follow. When you're acting from a place of not having something, every move you make carries that energy. You can feel it in the way you speak, the way you reach out, the way you try. A call made from desperation, a message sent with anxiety, a conversation driven by need, none of it actually brings you closer. It only reinforces the feeling that what you want is still missing. You're unknowingly repeating the same state over and over again. But there's a completely different way action can happen. When you truly step into the feeling that your desire is already yours, when you stop chasing and start embodying it, something shifts. You begin to feel guided instead of pressured. Ideas don't feel forced anymore. They arrive quietly, almost like they're being given to you. You might suddenly think of reaching out to someone specific or feel drawn to a place without any clear reason. Sometimes it's just a subtle knowing that appears out of nowhere and stays with you. These moments aren't random. This is guidance. This is the beginning of everything aligning behind the scenes. And when you act from this place, it feels different. There's a sense of ease, a natural flow. You're not trying to control the outcome, you're simply moving with something that already knows the way. It feels lighter, clearer, and strangely certain. Let me make this real for you. I once spoke to a woman who felt completely stuck where she was living. She believed her life existed somewhere else, in another city, and she spent nearly a year trying to make that move happen. Applications, networking, constant effort. She did everything she could think of, but nothing worked. She was drained and starting to feel like her desire itself was a mistake. So I asked her something simple. From what state are you doing all this? She paused and said, from the feeling that I need to escape. And right there was the issue. Everything she was doing came from the identity of someone trapped. Every action carried that feeling, so naturally her reality kept reflecting it back to her. I told her to stop forcing it. Not to give up, but to shift inward. To imagine that she had already moved. To feel what it would be like waking up in that new place, living that life, having already arrived. To let that feeling become real to her. So real that her current situation no longer felt like a prison, but like something she had already left behind. She did exactly that, and something interesting happened. She didn't have to force herself to stop trying. The urge to push just disappeared because the anxiety behind it was gone. She stayed in that new state calmly, consistently. Within 2 weeks, everything changed. Out of nowhere, an old friend reached out. That friend had moved to the exact city she wanted. Their company needed someone with her exact skills. She went for the interview, got the job, and moved. Later, she described the whole experience as something that felt inevitable, like it had always been waiting for her. She had just been getting in her own way. This is what it looks like when you stop interfering. It's not about doing nothing. It's about letting go of the struggle and allowing something greater to lead. You can learn to recognize the difference. When things are aligned, there's a natural ease. Not that everything is effortless, but it doesn't feel heavy or forced. Conversations flow. Timing works out in ways you couldn't have planned. There's a quiet sense that things are falling into place. When you're forcing, everything feels like resistance. You're pushing through every step, convincing, trying, struggling. It drains you. But when you're aligned, even action gives you energy. You feel pulled forward, not pushed. There's even a sense of curiosity in it. And underneath it all, there's peace. Even if the result hasn't fully appeared yet, you feel steady. You know you are moving in the right direction. That certainty doesn't come from evidence, it comes from within you. So let this guide you. First, decide what you want and fully accept it as already yours. Don't argue with it. Don't delay it. Experience it inwardly as if it's already done. Let it feel real, like a memory instead of a wish. Then let go of figuring out how it will happen. That part isn't yours to control. The moment you keep trying to plan every step, you interrupt the process. Remind yourself, I know what I want. I've accepted it within me. I don't need to control how it shows up. After that, become aware. Not tense, not waiting desperately, just open. Pay attention to the small nudges, the quiet ideas, the subtle pulls. They won't be loud or dramatic. They'll feel simple, almost easy to ignore, but they matter. And when something comes up, check how it feels. Does it feel light? Does it give you energy? Does it feel calm and right? Or does it feel heavy, urgent, and stressful? That feeling will tell you everything. When an idea or urge comes up, pay attention to how it feels. Does it feel light, calm, and energizing? Or does it carry that tight, familiar pressure of trying too hard? If it feels natural and alive, follow it. But not because you're desperate to make something happen. Follow it because deep down you already know it's done. And you're simply moving toward what already belongs to you. But if the action feels heavy, forced, or filled with anxiety, that's not guidance. That's your old mindset trying to take control again. In that case, pause, step back, trust that things are still unfolding even if you can't see it yet. This is the moment where trust is truly tested. Because the path won't always look the way you imagined. The timing won't always match what you planned. There will be moments where nothing seems to be happening at all. Those moments are not empty, they're part of the process. What looks like delay is often direction. What feels like stillness is often movement happening behind the scenes. There's a bigger picture forming, one that your mind can't fully see yet. So instead of judging what's in front of you, trust the whole process, even the parts that don't make sense right now. And through all of this, you must stay in the state. This isn't something you do once and forget, it's something you live in. No matter what's happening around you, you continue being the version of yourself who already has what you desire. Not hoping for it, not waiting for it, but living from it internally as if it's already real. People often ask how it's possible to let go and still be certain at the same time. It only feels confusing because two different things are being mixed together. Letting go doesn't mean giving up your desire. It means releasing control over how it will happen. You stop trying to figure out every step, every detail, every timeline. You accept that your mind doesn't have the full picture. At the same time, certainty means you don't question the outcome. You don't doubt that what you've accepted within yourself will eventually show up in your life. You stay firm in the knowing even when you don't know the path. Think of it like planting a seed. Once it's in the ground, you don't keep digging it up to check if it's growing. You don't try to control how the roots form or how fast it should sprout. You trust the process. But at the same time, you don't sit there wondering if it might fail. You know it will grow. That balance, trusting the process while being certain of the result, is where real peace comes from. There will be times when you've done everything right internally, but nothing seems to change on the outside. Days go by, maybe even weeks, and it feels quiet. The mind starts to question, starts to doubt, starts to wonder if it was all just wishful thinking. But something is always happening. The moment you truly shift your state, things begin moving in ways you can't see. People are being aligned, situations are being prepared, events are being arranged across time and space. It's all happening beyond your view. This period is like a hidden phase between planting and harvesting. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't real. Think of it like a pregnancy. For a while, nothing appears different on the outside, but inside, everything is forming. The most complex and precise creation is taking place where no one can see it. Your role during this time is simple, but not always easy. Don't interfere. Don't rush the outcome. Don't go back to old habits of doubt and control. Stay in your assumption. Stay in the feeling that it's already done. Because the moment you fall back into lack, you slow the process down again. And then, when the time is right, things shift quickly. What you've been holding internally shows up in ways you never expected. Opportunities appear out of nowhere. Connections happen naturally. Solutions come through paths you couldn't have planned. And when it finally arrives, it feels different. It doesn't feel forced or fragile. It feels right. It feels natural. Almost like a part of you already knew it was coming all along. That's the life you step into when you truly understand this. You're no longer trapped in constant effort and control. You're no longer exhausted from trying to force outcomes. Instead, you move with life, guided, steady, and certain, knowing that what is yours is already making its way to you. You were never meant to carry the pressure of controlling everything. You're not here to manage every detail, force every outcome, or bend life to your will until you're drained. Your role is much simpler than that. You set the intention clearly. You feel it as real. And then you allow something far greater than your conscious mind to take over from there. Once you've planted that inner seed and truly accepted the end result within yourself, you can relax. Not because you don't care, but because you trust. There is an intelligence that creates entire galaxies, that keeps everything in motion, and it is more than capable of arranging the details of your life. You don't have to figure it all out. You'll still take action, but it won't feel the same. It won't come from pressure or fear. It will feel natural, almost effortless, like you are being guided step by step. These actions carry a completely different energy. They're not about forcing results, they're about responding to something deeper inside you. And because of that, they're far more effective. One moment of true inspired action, taken from the feeling that you already have what you want, can create more impact than countless actions driven by stress or lack. That shift in energy changes everything. People around you will start to notice it too. Even before you fully recognize it in yourself, others will sense that something is different. There's a calmness about you, a quiet confidence. You're no longer chasing or trying to prove anything. There's a sense that you're not in a rush, yet things seem to come together for you anyway. It won't look like luck to you anymore. It will feel like alignment. You'll notice how things fall into place at the right time. The right people appear when you're ready for them. Opportunities show up when you're prepared to receive them. Resources come from places you didn't expect. Life starts to feel less like a struggle and more like a flow. What once seemed like random coincidences begin to feel meaningful, almost perfectly timed. And underneath all of that movement, there's a deep sense of peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from giving up, but the kind that comes from knowing. Knowing that what you've accepted within yourself is already on its way into your reality. Right now, you have a choice. You can keep doing things the old way, pushing, forcing, trying to control every step, carrying a weight that was never yours to carry. You can keep exhausting yourself trying to be everything at once, the planner, the doer, the one who makes it all happen. Or you can choose something different. You can decide that tonight is the moment you shift. Before you sleep, you can step into the feeling of already having what you desire. Not halfway, not with doubt, but fully with your imagination and your emotions aligned. And then you rest. Not a passive kind of rest, but a deep, grounded rest that comes from knowing you've done what truly matters. You've set the state, you've accepted it within. That's the real work. You can tell yourself, and actually mean it, it's already done within me. I don't need to figure out how. I trust that I'll be guided. I'll follow what feels right, what feels easy, what feels natural. And then you watch. Not with anxiety, not checking for proof every 5 minutes, but with a calm curiosity. Like someone who already knows the outcome and is simply observing how it all comes together. Because the truth is, you were never meant to do this alone. You were never meant to carry the full responsibility of making everything happen. There is a deeper intelligence at work, one that knows exactly how to bring things together in ways you could never plan. That same intelligence is within you. It's been there all along, waiting for you to stop interfering, waiting for you to trust it enough to let it lead. So go ahead, place your desire where it truly belongs, in your awareness. That's where everything begins. Feel it as real, accept it fully, then let go of the rest. Trust the process the same way you would trust a seed growing into something beautiful. You don't need to control it, you just need to believe in it. Now rest in that certainty. Let it settle into you. And when you wake up as someone who already knows. Not someone hoping, not someone wishing, but someone who is certain that life is already guiding them exactly where they need to be. Neville Manifestation. The deeper you go into this way of living, the more you start to notice that the real shift is not outside of you. It's in how you relate to everything. Situations that used to trigger urgency or fear begin to feel neutral. You stop reacting immediately, and instead, there's a small space between what happens and how you respond. In that space, you choose to stay aligned with the version of yourself who already has what you want. This is where real power begins. Not in controlling life, but in no longer being controlled by it. You'll also start to recognize how much of your old behavior was driven by the need for reassurance. Constantly checking, overthinking, trying to predict outcomes. These were all ways of trying to feel safe. But when you truly accept that your desire is already done internally, that need slowly fades. You don't need constant proof anymore because your certainty isn't coming from the outside. There's also a shift in how you experience time. Before, everything felt urgent. You wanted things to happen quickly, and any delay felt like something was wrong. But now, time feels different. You're no longer racing against it. You understand that everything has its own rhythm, and forcing it only creates resistance. You become more patient, but not in a passive way. It's an active patience, one that's rooted in trust. You're still moving, still living your life, still taking action when it feels right, but you're no longer in a hurry. And strangely, that's when things often start happening faster. Another important part of this is learning to recognize the difference between intuition and fear. They can sometimes feel similar on the surface, but they carry very different energies. Intuition feels calm, clear, and direct. It doesn't argue with you. It doesn't try to convince you. It simply points. Fear, on the other hand, is loud, repetitive, and full of what-ifs. The more you stay in your assumed state, the easier it becomes to tell the difference. You begin to trust those quiet inner nudges more. And when you act on them, even if they don't make logical sense at the time, they often lead you exactly where you need to be. You may also notice that certain things start falling away from your life. Old habits, old patterns, even certain people or environments may no longer feel aligned with who you are becoming. This isn't something to resist. It's part of the reorganization that happens when your inner state changes. At first, this can feel uncomfortable. There may be moments where things seem uncertain or unclear, but this is often just the space being created for something new to enter. If you try to hold on to the old while stepping into the new, you create conflict within yourself. So instead, allow the changes. Trust that anything leaving is making room for something better suited to the version of you that now exists. Another subtle but powerful shift is how you begin to speak to yourself. Your inner dialogue becomes less critical, less doubtful. You're not constantly questioning whether things will work out. Instead, there's a quiet confidence in the background of your thoughts. Even when challenges arise, and they will, you don't immediately assume the worst. You see them differently. Not as obstacles, but as part of the unfolding. Sometimes they are redirections. Sometimes they are preparing you. Sometimes they are simply neutral events that your old mindset would have turned into problems.